Putin charger. Putin charger. Seven o'clock on the west side. 7 o'clock on the west side. It's a Friday. Trash is out. Trash is out. It's Friday. Putin trash. Okay. Let's see what's oh, Larry. Hi, Larry. Of course you're up, Larry. You're on the east side. You're on the east side, Larry. Let's get this dragged into the old editor. Let's drag this all into the editor there. Alright, so that's going to be, let's say, 700. Good morning, Gwendoline. Gwendoline. Okay, let's go to the bottom here. Alright, there we are. Now we just wait for those late sleepers. Alright. Gotta stop eating calories. Gwendolyn. What's up, Wendy? I just came on, it was 7. And I said, boom, it has to be on at 7. Even if I come on and I might not be like ready to go, I gotta come on at 7. Alright, so we're gonna dig into the old facts of the matter here. They say Fear 2022 and they show a picture of, who is this, Putin? Make him look like Adolf Hitler. Or is that Putin? I think it's Putin. Expansion beyond Ukraine, nuke warning, battle for world order. The new world order. Hold on, let's kind of scan this. Is there anything popping off? Hold on, Drudge. You let us know about things. What the fuck are you doing in our land? Troops raise Russian flag in Ukraine. What the fuck are you doing in our land? Let's read this. What the fuck are you doing in our land? The U.S. Sun. This is a grandma. Act of defiance. Moment. Brave Ukrainian woman confronts heavily armed Russian soldiers in occupied city. This is the moment a brave Ukrainian woman confronted heavily armed Russian soldiers hours after they invaded, demanding to know what they are doing in her country. The furious woman shouted, "What the fuck are you doing in our land?" and told them they would die if they remained in Ukraine. A number of Twitter users hailed her courage after footage of the confrontation went viral. My left stroke just went viral. A Ukrainian woman confronts. More than 1,000 protesters have been detained in Russia in the past day. Huge demonstrations broke out in Moscow and St. Petersburg. Looks like they're arresting protesters. In the short clip, the woman asked soldiers, "Who are you?" Before they respond, we have exercises here. Please go this way. After demanding to know if they are Russian, she says, so what the fuck are you doing here? Trying to calm her down, one of the soldiers responds, our discussion will lead to nothing. Furious, the woman replies, you're occupants. You're fascists. What the fuck are you doing on our land with all these guns? Take these seeds and put them in your pockets so at least sunflowers will grow when you all lie down here. Take these seeds and put them in your pockets so that at least sunflowers will grow from your dead bodies when we kill you and you're dead on our land. Sunflowers are the national flower of Ukraine. She also brands the soldiers cursed and says they came here uninvited to her country. She's got a point. The clip, and I'll be the first to say, I don't know everything that's going on over there, but if you have some, say if this was like the United States force, and this old woman was like a Oklahoman, like what are you guys doing? Or, okay, maybe not United States, Chinese soldiers, and that was an Oklahoman or a Floridian or whatever, and they're like, what are you Chinese soldiers doing on our land? So I feel for the Ukrainian. The clip of an angry woman confronting the two soldiers was filmed in the port city of Henchkansk on the Sea of Azov, less than 18 miles from the annexed Russian territory of Crimea. One Twitter user praising the woman wrote, the bravery is amazing, thank you, we stand with you. It comes as protests against the war between Russia and Ukraine broke out around the world, including in Moscow. What's up with Taiwan? Because there's a lot of stuff on the Russia stuff, but what's up with it? Quietly in the background, the Chinese are invading Taiwan all secretively. Oh, don't worry, this is like normal. But they're using this as cover. You know what I mean? Like the same day that there was like the incursion, like all the shit started popping off, they used that as cover to go in with all kinds of shit to Taiwan. We covered that yesterday. Let me keep going. Let me light up this here. Protests against Vladimir Putin's actions have broken out across the world, including Russia itself. In the country's two largest cities, Moscow and St. Petersburg, protests voiced their support for Ukraine, chanting there is no war in a deeply unusual show of defiance. Around 1,400 people have been detained by Russian police at anti-war protests, including 700 in Moscow and more than 340 in St. Petersburg, according to opposition groups in the country. Latest in Ukraine, an aircraft has been shot down over Kiev. It was a Ukrainian Su-27 downed by Russian force by a surface-to-air missile. Ukrainian troops have recaptured Kiev airport. Defiant Ukrainian troops armed with British missiles have vowed to defend their homeland against Putin until the bitter end. Russian forces have captured Chernobyl, sparking fears of deadly radiation leak at the former nuclear plant. An apartment building was hit by an airstrike in the Ukrainian city of Chuhiv, with multiple casualties feared. Vladimir Putin warns of untold consequences if the West challenges his invasion of Ukraine. Dramatic pictures and video show police officers dragging away protesters and throwing them into vans. Vans? Unverified footage shows Russian police throwing people in vans. Posting video on the Moscow rally on Facebook, Antov Hryshchenko, Ukrainian government advisor, wrote, Ukrainians, call right your friends and acquaintances in Russia. Ask them to tell everyone that Russian soldiers are now dying in Ukraine, sons, brothers, fathers. This isn't good. I feel like Putin has gone crazy. You know who has like a really good eye for this as far as the spiritual? Believe it or not, Paul Begley. Paul freaking Begley. Let's go over to Paul Begley's channel. And I was listening to him, and he has a whole bunch of just information, you know. Good old Paul Begley. Paul Begley. So this is 11 hours ago. Putin on the Blitz, Mike from around the world. Skip. Skip all that.
Morning, tell him Pastor Paul Begley sent you. The number's 87.
Skip all that. Oh. It's a commercial. Hold on.
Had the spots of a leopard, and it also had the wings of a fowl, but it did not have the wings of the eagle. And you'll find the wings of the eagle were soaring and protecting Israel in the 12th chapter of the book of Revelation. So in other words, those three kingdoms in the end consolidate into one. That is this beast. This is the new world order. We're going to continue to watch that as we go forward. Now, folks, Russian President Vladimir Putin has threatened the West with a nuclear attack in his 5:45 a.m. speech early this morning. In this, he said that if anybody tries to interfere with Russia's objective and invasion in Ukraine, they will face an attack, basically, the likes of which they've never seen before in history. Now, some people think that means he was talking about a nuclear attack, but we've seen nuclear weapons. But we also know that the Pentagon said that Russia has 2 new weapons that's never been used before, and they are dreadful. And folks, I'm not sure what that means, if it's a space war, a Star Wars type thing, or some other microwavable thing or laser beam thing. I'm not even sure what in the world it is, but whatever it is. And they also have a hypersonic missile that we have no defense for. So Russia is setting on some, and we'll ask Mike from around the world about it. We'll ask Mike from around the world about it tonight to find out can he tell us what that meant? What is...
Yeah. Let's go to Mike from around the world. Where is he? Could we have to go all this way to get Mike from around the world? Is he going to talk to Mike from around the world? Hold it now. All right, keep going.
Is this weapon? Can we get that out of Mike tonight? We're going to try.
Okay, well, let's skip ahead.
In light of the events of Ukraine, Turkey may close the Bosphorus Straits for passage of Russian ships over the events in Ukraine, but hopes it won't happen.
Hold on, where's up with Mike from around the world?
The Russian-Ukrainian crisis. Well, they still got to poke Israel in the eye no matter what they're talking about. You can have World War III going on, and these idiots will sit around and just only thing they're so infatuated with, the only thing they're obsessed with is Israel. Deal with Israel. Deal with Israel. So that's the kind of stuff that's going on, guys.
Hold on, Paul. Where's Mike from around the world?
Means F-20.
Hold on, F-22.
22s, F-35s, B-52 bombers has just left the United States, headed to Europe. A lot of them leaving right out of Florida.
Florida.
That was confirmed this morning that the U.S. has put airplanes everywhere. And oh, by the way, so have the British, the French, many nations now. According to reports, NATO Secretary Jens Stoltenberg spoke out against Russia's military offensive against.
All right, so everybody's coming out against Russia. Mike, what do you have to say about this? Where is good old Mike?
As President Zelensky declare a state of emergency, which that totally makes sense when they're being bombed in 25 different cities and there's tanks rolling in from 3 different directions. But he also declared martial law, and every man 18 to 60 cannot leave the country.
Ooh, he wants everyone to fight.
Every man 18 to 60 must stay and fight for Ukraine. And Zelensky also announced that he is the #1 target of Vladimir Putin, that he's target #1, and that Putin wants to kill him so that he can topple the government. And Zelensky is not leaving. He is staying.
I came to that conclusion yesterday. They want Zelensky out of there. What's up with this Voom? Get rid of this Voom guy. Oh, boom. CBB sniped him. Good job, Snipe. I like to have snipers in here. Good. Snipe him away. Snipe him away. That was a good snipe, CBB. I like that. You get a gold star in sniping from me. You get a gold star in sniping. Hold on, bring it down, brassy brass.
In Ukraine with his people. This is an incredible situation here. I never thought, you know what? Now, I've seen people have reasons for war, and it's usually they find fault with whoever it is they're going to go fight with. In this one, 12-page speech, never once does Putin blame the Ukrainian people or the Ukrainian government of doing anything. He blames the West. He blames America. He blames the...
So he blames the West, and we know that we've been entangled in freaking... we've been entangled in... Where is this place? Ukraine. We learned about that in the past years, how we've been entangled over there in Ukraine.
British. He blames the French. He blames
the French and the British.
NATO. He blames
NATO.
Blames. Some of his complaints are legitimate.
Some of his complaints are legitimate.
I agree. Clinton shouldn't have messed up and got involved and stirred up the Islamic...
And then Ukraine has the #1, giving support to the Clinton Foundation.
Population in those countries, but he did it so he could rock the boat and keep Russia off their sure footing. I agree. Bush should have never went to Iraq. There was no weapons.
Bush should have never went to Iraq. Let me check this. Put this on top. What's up, Sergeant Greenleaf? Gwendolyn? Havana Syndrome's a real thing and a real threat. Nobody knows who's doing the attacking. Keep giving me little tidbits in the chat room. I'm paying attention to it. Brazil wants to invade Florida? What? Gwendolyn, we need to run you through the database because I'm not sure who you are, Gwendolyn. Brazil wants to invade Florida, but what they really have is Florida coffers $6 billion in which emergency orders signed by DeSantis. Any emergency allows unchecked draws from Florida Treasury.
It's a mass destruction. Even President Trump said that at the very time when he put it in his book. We all know this. Colin Powell, I don't know who deceived who, but man, that just flat out wasn't right.
There's a lot of deception going on here. There's a lot of deception. Is Mike from around the world going to pop on?
Want to go any? It won't go any wider.
Well, maybe leave it, but then just minimize your browser.
Okay, pop ahead.
So anyway, as Israel's working on that, let's get a cup of coffee, everybody.
I got my cup of coffee. Let's go a little bit forward. Up. That looks weird. It's somebody wiping their butt. Is that an advertisement? That's like very, very gnarly. While you sleep, no matter your age or current condition, fix your prostate.
The gang leader, formerly known as H-Brain, continues to maintain his innocence despite insurmountable evidence against him.
In the idols that knew everything.
Skip it.
Those that are lost. Let's go here right now. Here is this another video of what happened in Kiev tonight.
All right, I'm over on Paul Begley at a 1 hour and 5 minutes and 8 seconds. 1 hour, 5 minutes, 8 seconds. 1 hour, 5 minutes, 8 seconds. The name and the title, he is Paul Begley, and the title is Breaking Putin on the Blitz. Mike from around the world, Paul Begley. So they're showing some stuff going on. It looks like some red, something blowing up in the sky. Somebody's curtains are opening up. It looks like the sun, but it's like some sort of bomb. Okay, let me get a shot of that. No, a shot of this is going to be better because you're going to be able to study it. It only does it for a second. Mine's going to be better. Okay, because I'm going to show you this, and then we're going to see, and you're going to be able to see everything. Now this thing is dropping, so this is some sort of new weapon or something. Okay, we'll put this right up here. Just 1 second. Just give me 1 second, please. Okay. There's the city. Okay. All right, you guys good? You see what's going on? Okay.
That's over top the city.
Something's dropping. Looks like white phosphorus or something.
That is an incredible scene, and you can imagine you're living in this is Ukraine. You're just living in a normal family, and this is going on over top your head.
Whoa, there's some like weird, crazy shit going on, man.
In the capital of Ukraine. Now, no doubt that is an airplane that has been shot down by the Ukrainian military. I would almost guarantee that's a Russian fighter jet that was shot down. It's an incredible scene, but I tell you, this is real world, folks. What's real world? What's happening right now?
Are we getting Mike from around the world? He's going to get into the Bible.
False prophets saying that they're the Messiah. It's going to get insane. It already is insane. And there'll be people there. The Bible says because iniquity abounds, the love of many will wax cold. And so this is it. We're marching toward the coming of the Lord Jesus Christ. We are on our way. We're traveling 1,000 miles an hour toward the judgment seat of Christ. And I'm afraid that millions and millions of people are not ready. But Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father but by me. If the Bible says, with the heart man believes unto righteousness, and with the mouth confession is made unto salvation. If you'll give Jesus Christ your heart, he will be found with you.
Can we get Mike from around the world?
He says, if any of you are tempted to interfere with my invasion, I will hit you. I will bring you in and hit you with something that you've never seen before in history. I mean, what's that? Because we know about nukes, so is it something?
Oh, wow.
Here we are.
Oh, there's Mike.
Mike,
And might I add,
All right, we got Mike from around the world on. It's 7 in the morning, 7:27. All right, so we're up and running. We got Mike from around the world. I said good morning to everybody, right? Good morning, Gwendolyn. Good morning, Tiffany. Good morning, Susan. Good morning, Hayes. Good morning, frickin' Sergeant Greenleaf. Good morning, Gwendolyn Soroco. Nora got frickin' sniped by fucking CBB. Good morning, CBB. CBB is just lurking in the background, frickin' with camouflage on and his sniper rifle. Just in case anybody gets out of control, he's there to snipe. El Fuego's in here. El Fuego. We got Marianne in here. We got Wendy in here. Larry's probably got the sniper shit on too. Florida National Guard. Hold on, what's up with Florida National Guard? Oh, and new National Guard is being trained in Russia. And new National Guard is being trained in Russia. All the news. Love you. Platonically, of course, Munder. Oh, and the new National Guard is being trained in Russia. Which National Guard are? CBB is lurking and listening with his sniper rifle. All right, we're going to go on to Mike from around the world. Yep, I got it to the point. It's about an hour and 15 minutes and 44 seconds into this broadcast. This is Paul Bagley breaking Putin on the Blitz, Mike from around the world. Let's see what Mike from around the world has to say. We're up nice and early. It's only 10 o'clock on the east side. It's still morning over there.
and this is the
Give me a little
beginning
more.
of a few steps we'll likely cover.
Okay. Let's talk about that, Mike. What would those steps be that you see? Does Russia, I mean, they're going to try to take the entire country of Ukraine. There's no question there. So what are the steps?
Well, the NATO right now, they're pulling out all the stops because they have to make sure that NATO territory is covered. So we have international forces on standby, ready to deploy to strengthen areas that are along the border with NATO. And because Putin he already went into airspace he wasn't supposed to go into. He did that 3 or 4 times. He also has bombers on patrol right now. So that's not a good thing. Last night, those bombers went into full flight. And there have been some aerial incursions last night also. I think about 16 aircraft went down as of last night. I'm not sure what everybody is hearing right now.
Well, wait, are you saying that 16 Russian aircraft was shot down?
Well, not all Russian, unfortunately. So,
Okay.
but there have been some aerial issues going on right now, and so it's important that NATO watch both the airspace. There's also a bit of tension concerning satellites right now. Every missile that has a pretty large heat signature that NATO picks up, they're going to have to watch space, because if they start watching too much, Putin has communicated several different threats. Things have been picked up through encrypted radio chatter that if NATO starts to see too much, right, they're going to knock down the communications satellites that they're utilizing to do this. Does Russia have the capability to do that? You better believe it. They could do it in a snap of a finger, and that would set off a new type of conflict no one's ever been in before. Plus, Russia has kept quite a few secrets, and nobody's sure as far as what heavy platforms he actually has in space. For example, during the Apollo missions, Russia sent 2 platforms in space that were just identified in 2020
What?
as to what they were. Yeah, so they sent up mechanical bases.
Yeah.
Okay, we're listening to Paul Begley, Breaking Putin on the Blitz, Mike from around the world, Paul Begley. We are an hour, 18 minutes, and 33 seconds into the 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 43 seconds of the film, the video. Like I said, Paul Begley. I'm just taking clips. We're commentating on it.
Not really with the high-tech equipment on there, but certainly the architecture for those devices, so that later on, as they develop, they could inch technology into space and complete it. And
Some sort of platforms. What's going on right here in this picture? Is this a platform? Are these like... What's good? What is all this shit being fired down? Is this a plane up here? Helicopter? I don't know. You can't tell. It's all smoky and shit.
so that's that takes a lot of patience to begin a project, back in the 60s and complete it into 2000s, inching technology up there, developing it on the ground, launching it into space. So you're facing elements like that, which are largely unknown. So, it's pretty broad and vast, and nothing should be off the table in people's minds as far as what Putin will actually do. He's quite passionate about what he's doing. That's his ideology, is what he believes in, and that's precisely what he's going to do, is restore his national sense of purpose. That's what he's going to do. And he won't permit anybody to negotiate him or to negotiate with him to get him out of that mindset. Everybody can see that. So here we are, and that's just the beginning, because all of this will lead to the Middle East eventually.
Now, what do you think about the fact that the deputy foreign minister, they're sitting at the United Nations Security Council. They're talking about Ukraine and Russia. And this guy says, oh, by the way, we don't recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital. And also the Golan Heights, that's not Israel's either. That belongs to Syria. Why bring that up? Why bring that up? Which is actually was in my dream. Something was going to happen over here. But why bring it up the very day you're invading Ukraine?
That's why Putin is in Syria. That's why Putin has naval forces right outside of Cyprus. That's why all these submarine missions have been happening near Greece and other places, even around Italy. That's why these things have been taking place, because Putin has been positioning his army in all strategic areas to eliminate anybody who would stop his forward momentum. And he has a do or die mindset. All right, everything he does is calculated. Of course, lately, it seems there has been a notable change in Putin, but he's going, he's going full strength on all.
Okay, we're gonna commentate on it. You guys are saying like a bomber with phosphorus. I'm not sure, dude. What's raining down on this town right here? Is this a platform? Is this a bomber? Is this a helicopter? I mean, they're just kind of raining down just ferocity on this town. And what is that? Missiles or phosphorus or bombs or I don't know. Looks pretty fucking hellish, to be honest with you. Russia is low-flying drones loaded with Chernobyl rubble, allowing them to be shot down. Russia is flying low drones loaded with Chernobyl rubble, allowing them to be shot down. Okay, let's go back to Mike from around the world. I just kind of wanted to pause it, and just commentate. So let's commentate in the chat room. So we're commentating.
All levels here.
Mike, we got some news also coming in.
Breaking news coming in over the newswire.
Thousands of Russians are in the streets right now.
Thousands of the Russians are in the streets right now protesting.
They've been protesting in St. Petersburg.
St. Petersburg, they're protesting. The Russians are removing the protesters. Welcome to the New World Order.
And I know that earlier today I saw that over 1,700 had been arrested. They're
Yeah, they're being taken in, and the Russians are having problems with people protesting this over there, and they're throwing them into some sort of gulags. That's a Klingon bird of prey. All right.
protesting against Putin going to war.
They might want to. As you're going to see, he's not going to back down from that either.
Okay.
He will, with a strong hand, deal with that as he sees it.
Has something snapped?
He will deal with it.
Has something snapped in his mind? He isn't the cool customer anymore.
It seems like the NWO, which, by the way, is both good and bad. They took me out. Did they take me out? Was that a takeout? Am I still on? Can you let me know if I'm still on? Sergeant? Am I still on? No, I'm not. I'm on still. Oh. Okay. Well, let's just simmer down then. Mike, what else is going on? Hello, Gwendolyn.
You mentioned that last week.
No, during the Olympics, right before the Olympics, actually, in a few talks he had, he was quite different. And then, of course, given those briefings that he had, and then when he was talking to his people, you could almost see, you could certainly hear it in his voice that there's been a notable change with this guy, a notable change. You know what it reminds me? There are certain times in history when certain people are dormant. Take Saddam Hussein. Now, he's not Saddam Hussein, but take Saddam Hussein, for instance.
Hold on, T.O., before we get into the Saddam Hussein, can we just simmer down for a second? Let's just think to ourselves, like, how can we simmer down the best way possible? Let's just do it, like, together. Let's pray, maybe.
This guy was he was flagrant for a long time. But then you have other players that were behind Saddam Hussein that kept.
He got cut off. I paused him. Did you say something about dancing, dancing, dancing across the U.S.? Dancing, dancing, dancing across the USA. Yeah, oh yeah. While all this is going on, we're still dancing, dancing, dancing across the USA. Perfect. Perfect song. We'll go dancing. And then they're going down Colossus, right? And they all have their hands up. Back in the 80s, Beverly D'Angelo and Clark W. Griswold, a.k.a. Fletch, a.k.a. freaking Chevy Chase. And then they have all the SWAT team and police and freaking emergency responders back on the roller coaster with them. And Walt Disney, a.k.a. Roy Wally, he doesn't press charges because they came in there with a BB gun, and they're like, we drove 6,000 miles for a little Wally entertainment, for a little Roy Wally entertainment, you know. And Roy, what about if you got to Florida and Florida was closed? Oh, they don't close Florida. I know, Roy, but what if they did close Florida? And he's like, I just wanted my family to have a good time. I love it. Dancing, dancing, dancing across the U.S. Dancing, dancing, dancing across the USA. Well, that's what's going on right now, and they did their future insight, and I find it very hard to believe that picture, and there's also pictures in the end with the cops and shit. You cannot find that online. At least I can't. I would have that blasted right here. We're going to have Chevy Chase, Beverly D'Angelo, and all the cops and everything together at Wally World, aka Magic Mountain. And for some reason, they don't want to show the unification. Hayes will reopen Florida if someone closes it. We're talking about dancing, dancing, dancing across the U.S. Dancing, dancing, dancing across the USA.
Mike, you still there?
He got cut out. They took him out.
Okay, Mike is still there.
Why?
He's still there, but, you know.
Why? Because of that notable change, right?
Mike, we lost you for about 5 minutes.
Okay.
Oh, did I drop? Did you lose
Yeah,
me?
no, he didn't lose you, but you just, we lost you for about 10 seconds, and now you're back, so.
You're embellishing, James. It wasn't 5 minutes. It was 10 seconds.
Oh, okay.
Maybe you stepped on a couple toes there with
You stepped on something.
Saddam Hussein. I don't know. But anyway, go ahead.
But
Everyone's just thinking that, you know, that's total freedom when you think, oh, the Hemlocks are listening at every point. Just like a little eyeball everywhere. You know, before they had all this stuff, like, fused together back in World War II, they used to leave big eyeballs, Illuminati eyeballs, on every corner to be like, we're watching you. Well, now we got these boxes and phones and fucking smart meters and our fucking dishwashers and microwaves connected to the internet. And guess what? You don't know who those are connected to. Okay? They might be connected to military. They might be connected to a foreign military. They might be connected. Who the fuck do we, you know? If these things are being created in foreign countries, do you think that they're going to make them very easy to connect to our military? Because, yeah, I would feel a little bit better, even though it's very non-freedom-like and it's fascist, that they're connected to our military. But what about if they're connected to the Chinese military? I mean, what are they doing with all of our shit? All right, Mike, keep going.
I was saying, though.
Who got sniped? No, I just got a... Chechen rape hordes are being deployed into Ukraine as part of Russia's occupation force. It might be time to join the forces, boys. Chechen rape hordes? So, Lisa, are you saying that the boys should join the Chechen rape forces? Lisa? Lisa, do you have some sort of rape fantasies or something? I'll show it. Chechnya has a lot of those bombers, don't they? Those were the two boys that did the old the bombing over in Massachusetts. All right, Florida's open for new business. It's a state of diversity, Marianne is saying. Oh, good, Marianne's here. They got gun-owning, American-loving dudes all pissed off for 2 years. They had better not come here. Nothing to see here in Florida, huh? Lisa's like, who is going to protect me? Oh, Lisa's like, I'm gonna get raped. Lisa has some sort of fetish going on.
All of these guys, they have these almost like a change of despotism and severe aggravation right before they begin to do a very momentous move. Now, personally, I don't believe that the Ukraine is his target here. I know that sounds strange, but I don't believe that.
No, I don't either.
He is, from last night to this point, he's not interested in hitting people. But
all right, timmer it down, Tipper Nicks. Babe, don't worry, we got this. Pray to Jesus, he will. Gwendolyn's laughing. Nothing to see here. You guys are so 30 shades of something. 51 shades of Tatiana.
That's obvious. He's not interested in causing casualties. He's been striking military targets is what he's been doing. He did nothing against people so far. Nothing. No targets against people. He's been after military targets, which means he has something else is on his mind. It may not be absolutely clear as to what that is, but something.
He's following the outline. Good and bad are both jumping the gun here because they got a timetable. Good, bad. The whole hemlocks. The hemlocks are in every... They're worldwide, and there's different factions of them. And they have like secret knowledge, and there's secret things going on. And it plays down and it filters down to the people. But when you get down, when you get up to the top of what's going on, it's very dicey as to what's going on. And there's two big factions, and then within those factions there's other factions, right? So you have the light and the dark, the white and the black, and then within those white and black you have many factions.
Larger is on his mind. Also, communications between Russia and Iran have picked up. Why would they pick up when he invades Ukraine? Well, I'll tell you why. Their plans, within plans, if a ex-KGB agent is flamboyant enough, right, to demonstrate something to the world, you better believe it's a message. The Ukraine is a message. That's a message. That's not actually his final objective. Is a message. And I hope that leadership is not so arrogant to miss the subtleties of what's happening here, because he's concentrating a lot of his diplomatic power, communications, and all that's being concentrated towards his number one ally, which is Iran.
Well, Mike, let me read one paragraph of this 12-page speech he gave, in which he said, "It is a fact that over the past 30 years, we have been patiently trying to come to an agreement with the leading NATO countries regarding the principles of equal and indivisible security in Europe. In response to our proposals, we invariably faced either cynical deception or lies or attempts at pressure and blackmail. While the North Atlantic Alliance continues to expand, despite our protests and concerns, its military machine is moving. And as I said, it's approaching our very border." So is this moved in Ukraine is not as much about Ukraine as it's about the West, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a message, because he's calling NATO. They are the neo-Nazis he's talking about.
Yeah,
NATO.
I know, NATO. Yeah.
NATO and how they arrogantly do what they do, right? This is by his view. He believes that they are arrogant. They can be arrogant.
Yeah.
They believe they're right all the time. They won't consider anybody else's voice. They only consider their own voice. He doesn't even like the fact that how NATO is somewhat biased against individuals of the Middle East. They, of course, everybody knows that NATO kind of pats the Middle East on the head like they're subsidiary human beings. And you have to remember, China, they have their ideologies. Russia has their ideology. But they have been the ones that have truly taken care of those things in the Middle East. They may not do things like we do, like the West does. They're certainly not indoctrinated into the ways of the West, but they have a lifestyle that they live. And communications has been futile. It's just not worked, right? Over all these years. He has a track record of going to the United Nations, talking with NATO and everybody else about specific problems. And every single case, they have shooed him away or they have delayed him. Now, this is known, right? It's not unknown. It's not like they didn't realize what they were doing. This is exactly how they treat or have treated Russia, and he can see that, right? If another country did the USA like that, not one person in the USA would stand for that. Now, this is something also the citizens don't really know about yet. But there is a
We will allow Russia to take whatever land they want, or we will be destroyed with 5,000 nukes. Some sort of SOS over here. We'll go to the SOS, Larry, but this better be an SOS. Counter sanctions against West to hit its weak spots. Block. Moscow will respond to sanctions imposed by the United States and its allies over Russia's military operation in Ukraine. The head of the Russian Senate, Valentina Matvinenko, told journalists during her visit to Tajikistan on Friday. As for the reciprocal sanctions, they are ready, Matvinenko said, adding, Russia's response would not mirror the restrictions imposed by Washington and its allies, but would instead hit the Western nations where it hurts. We are well aware of the West's weak spots, and we have drafted an entire package, a series of potential sanctions to be used against those nations that announce sanctions against Russia, the Senate head has said, adding that the West has many, many soft spots. The official has not elaborated on any details of the drafted sanction proposals. She only said that the measures would be designed so as to not hurt Russia itself. The Russian government has taken all the threats stemming from sanctions into account and developed safety mechanisms. Matvinenko has also said that Russia will maintain a reliable gas supplier for Europe, despite measures taken by the United States and Germany against the Russian-backed Nord Stream 2 pipeline project. Berlin decided to put an immediate halt to the certification of the project even before Russia launched its operation in Ukraine. The decision was taken following the official recognition by Moscow of the two breakaway Donetsk and Luhansk republics earlier this week. What about if they just start targeting like all the freaking pipelines everywhere, and everybody just goes like, the gas people, they want this because they're like, just take out all the gas pipelines. We're talking about $200 barrel in oil. We have to pay like $26 a gallon. That way, they could get us and say, no, we're going to go into the New World Order, and we're not going to do gas because we know that they're against carbon emissions and all this other stuff, even though in China they're doing it or whatever. Because they still need carbon to do whatever they're doing. They just don't need it over here. Carbon means heat and electricity and basically life over here. Berlin decided to put an immediate halt to the certification of the Nord Stream 2, and that was before anything happened in Ukraine. The decision was following the official recognition by Moscow of the two breakaway Donetsk and Luhansk republics earlier this week. The Russian Senate head's words also come after U.S. President Joseph Biden, fake president, imposed long-term impact sanctions. Well, see what you did, Biden? You sent your son over there, you made a ton of money, and now you're like pretending to help fix it. We know that you did business over there with all kinds of dirty people, and now this dirty shit comes home to roost, and you're a dirty man, Biden. Are we going to just pretend like Joe Biden didn't send all these people over to Ukraine to do all this dirty work, the big man? Are we going to pretend like the big guy fucking didn't put this into place for us. Piece of garbage. Oh, Biden's gonna save it. Biden's in a fucking whatever my dad said. Biden is in a very tight place. Fuck that shit. Fucking terrible fucking piece of shit. Are we going to pretend like that didn't happen? Remember? His son was put in, and he didn't have any experience, and he was put in Burisma. And Burisma happens to be oil. Okay? And then this is like over oil. And there's a whole oil thing. And he got paid over in Ukraine. What did he get paid? Ukraine was going to have some sort of gas operation. All right. So Russia, they basically, because it needs to come through Ukraine, Putin's right now guaranteeing that that comes to him. He's like, no one is going to interfere in our gas. Like, he made big ass deals, and it sounds like he got backstabbed, in particular by the Clinton Foundation, which is like in with Ukraine. So we see all this shit happening. And it is bad. It is bad for people on the ground. Okay? Should we get involved? Hell no. Did we cause this? Yes. Because I believe Joe Biden went over there, or sent people over there, or whatever was going on, and he screwed things up with his big deals for the big guy. Because we were all, before this, we were all let known about all the stuff that was going on over in Ukraine, and it had nothing to do with like wars and all this. But what happened? It was a big injustice, and it caused war. It caused war. No, they'll just cut the power until you get to the main frame. Make it easy. Murder is unjustified killing. It's execution. Under very interesting, there's no new world order. There is only AI because of their new computer. AI has no use for humans or life or God, etc. Zero hedge. Hold on. I can't go to every... Larry, I can't... I'm not on your... When you send me an article, I gotta freaking read the article. I'm still on the article you sent me, bud. The Russian Senate head's words also come after U.S. President Joe Biden imposed long-term impact sanctions against Russia over its military operation in Ukraine. On Thursday, the measures targeted Russia's banking sector, as well as the nation's ability to do business in dollars, pounds, or yen. The restrictions did not involve cutting off Russia from the SWIFT system, though. So if they're cutting them off, they're going to need their own money. How are they getting their own money? From their energy. They're going to need to take care of their own people. If they're being cut economically, like we are in the United States, so if they're doing it to me, they're sure as hell doing it to Russia as a whole. And if you don't have pounds, dollars, or yen, you will go under. So he's invading to make sure his people are going to be okay, and they're demonizing him for it. Right? Now, he might have to come in here and kick a little ass, and there might be some death. But how much more death is there going to be if his people don't have energy and this and that? And where did the Nord Stream 2 have to go through? Ukraine. Ukraine. So once they said, oh, we're cutting off the Nord Stream 2, he was like, fuck that shit. Fuck that shit, because that's life. That's life. If you use the levers of banking and energy and blah, 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 and you short out a country, that's going to cause death. But it's not going to be the death where helicopters and Apaches come in. It's going to be the kind of death where you don't see it on the nightly television. Okay? So we really got to understand what's going on here. I understand what Putin's doing. And it also says it in the Bible that it's going to happen. What is it? Gomer? So basically, they're targeting banking money, the ability to do business in dollars, pounds, yen. They're cutting them off from oil, energy. The EU, Hemlock, Illuminati, targeting 70% of Russian banking. Key state-owned companies, including the defense field, so they can't protect themselves. Russia's launched large-scale military operation in Ukraine on Thursday morning, seeking to demilitarize and denazify the regime in Kiev. He's not talking about the Ukrainians. He's talking about Nazification of NATO. Keep going. We're popping in and out of Paul Begley.
Segment up.
And Paul Begley has on this guy, Mike from Around the World. And Mike from Around the World is letting us know, and the people in the chat are letting us know. But tell me what you think about that. Putin has to do this because of basically us, which, you know, we're part of the Nazi. I don't want to say us. It's not us. It's the people that are in these like secret freaking whatevers. They're getting Nazi on Russia, and Russia has to go in here, and he might kill Ukrainian civilians. But he needs to make sure that look at how big Russia is. How many people do you think is going to die with no cameras on or no nothing if they don't have any money or energy or anything?
The citizens who do know about it. So let me share this with you, because this is where this is going. The Russian army, the entire Russian army, it's when the USSR, during World War II, there were a lot of adopted individuals, and Russia did not care about religion, faith, background, any of those things. Over time, there have been many different nationalities who have joined the Russian army. Do you not know that a little more than 40% of the Russian army is of a certain faith? Do you know that? Of one specific faith. That faith is shared in the Middle East. That's a huge percentage, Pastor Paul.
That is huge.
And it's a very, it's a scary percentage in this way.
Wow.
Because most of them are ostracized.
Yeah.
If people find out their faith, it's almost like they excommunicate them to a degree. Right now, the military's not like that, but some of the citizens are, which causes a person to feel inferior, having no equal rights, which, by the way, bolsters some type of animosity within them against everybody else. And one of my greatest concerns, and I'm not the only one that, well, I probably am one of the small group that has this concern, is with that army, with the Russian army, there's no way, and I've said this once before on your show, but there are elements within the Russian army that can easily take control of everything very quickly. Very quickly.
When you say take control of, when you say everything, take control of the army, of the Russian government.
That's right. If you control the military, there's nobody left.
Right.
And these folks don't have low positions. No, they have high positions. But their loyalties are backed by their faith, are connected to their faith. So can you imagine what would happen if for some reason in the next couple weeks some altercation took place with Turkey and Russia? Something that left a bitter taste.
Yeah, Turkey just, they said Turkey may close the Bosphorus Strait.
And then remember Nancy Pelosi, they said, oh, Nancy gets Ukraine mixed up with Turkey. Or maybe Nancy had been talking about Turkey and the next move that was going to be done, and she confused that, and they made it into like, oh, she... Go to that again. Hold on. Go to this. Open up a new thing. Nancy confuses Turkey with Ukraine or whatever. Ukraine. Let me just give you the audio, please. 6 hours ago? Yeah, I covered it. I was there, breaking news. Okay, I'll just give you a little audio, okay? A little something, something. You just sit right there and drink your coffee. You just sit right there and drink your coffee, okay? Go to the Dirty Bird. Go to the Dirty Bird, please. Okay. Speaker.gov, speaker.gov. No, Fox, Russian, Tatiana. Transcript. Speaker.gov/newsroom. Just go to videos. They don't have Twitter. Okay, go to this one. This is fine. Everyone shush.
Some of the leadership of well, if you look at the map and you see Hungary and you see how it is encircled, Russia, Belarus map and you see Hungary and you see how it is encircled, Russia, Belarus, Crimea, map and you see Hungary.
So you're talking about Hungary. First she said Hungary basically borders Ukraine. Does Russia border? Does Russia or Ukraine border Hungary?
According to Wikipedia.
Sure. Does Russia or Ukraine border Hungary? No. Here's the image. All right. So if you were to look at Hungary. We did this yesterday, but I'll do it again. So Ukraine is surrounded by Crimea, Russia, Belarus, Poland, Czech Republic. No. Sorry, Poland. This one doesn't have... No. Go back to that one. Is that Czech Republic? Poland. I believe that's the Czech Republic or Vienna or Hungary. But definitely Hungary touches Ukraine right there. Romania, Crimea, and then Georgia, Russia, Belarus, Poland. But Hungary is surrounded by Vienna, and then that little one, Slovenia, Bosnia, Serbia, Romania, a little bit of Ukraine, Poland, Czech Republic, Vienna, Slovenia. So it's where there is going to be a pipeline coming through. So right here, the pipeline, it comes up, and they need this pipeline to come into Russia. So there's no way that it's not going to go into, it needs to go through Ukraine. And then Hungary is going to do some stuff. So this is all like gas related, I guarantee it. This is gas related. And now there's, Nancy is coming out and she said, oh, Pelosi confuses Hungary with Ukraine. or she just telegraphed something that's going to happen in Ukraine. Go back to that one.
Uh, from Russian ships. I mean, can you imagine if they did that?
No, because I'll tell you, anybody who gets in the way of this operation, Putin will not hesitate but to eliminate them within minutes. Within minutes, he will direct his weaponry to that place. He's going to find out who's on his side and who's not before he makes some major moves. He's going to find that out. That's part of their playbook. Right?
Yeah,
That's what the KGB knows. They will qualify their adversaries. They will qualify all those who are on their side.
And once again, when you talk about deaths, if they are starving out, remember they said they're going to cut off Russia from the internet, cut off Russia from banking, cut off Russia from gas and all this, and cut off Russia. They cut off the Nord Stream 2 pipeline before any of this. That was probably the point where Putin was like, go in. Because they put billions and trillions of dollars into that, right? And they feel like they're getting stabbed in their back, right? And they can't protect their own people, and they can't have, like, you know how many Russians are going to die because of that? And it's not going to be televised. So we can see just on a human level of why this is going on. And we got our dirty hands because we had our representative, Joseph Biden, go over there and get his hands all dirty and all kinds of shit that he shouldn't have been doing over, in Ukraine. And then it comes back to bite us. So, of course, we're not going... my dad was watching the TV, of course, and the TV was programming him, saying that, Joe Biden was in a sticky spot. He's not in a sticky spot. He's completely blackmailed. All right, he's completely blackmailed, and they know that they're the United States. We're not going to intervene. We're not going to intervene because then we would have a lot to lose intervening in this. So we're just going to let it happen, okay? And basically, NATO, the Illuminati hemlocks, are the ones kind of going after Russia. So basically, he has to do this he has to have the states. He has to, the pipeline is going in order to set it up, build it, and everything. And he's like, screw it, I'm coming in. That's why he's coming in so hot, because they're going to be there for a long time. They're going to be there until it's built, and he's going to set up some stuff. He's going to kick out the President Zelensky. He's going to do all kinds of things because he needs that Nord Stream pipeline to come in there, since they're getting cut off economically with sanctions and everything. That was going to be their savior. So if we're cutting them off from sanctions, we can't cut them off from just taking care of their own people. Taking care of their own people, which you need gas, right? And by the way, the same people that are doing this to him, they're blowing up our gas stuff all like just covertly, You notice how this gas fucking Marathon was the last one that went up, all of a sudden, oh, Marathon gas just blew up. It happens to be the number one place. Yeah, right. You guys are blowing them up, and people aren't paying attention to brass. But look at the gas pumps. Go look at the gas pumps. $9 a gallon? Yeah, it's well above 100. It's probably going to go to 200.
And Turkey last night made a few comments talking with NATO, right, which was probably a mistake. I noticed that Israel, they came out and condemned the actions.
Yeah.
But they would not come out and condemn Putin, right?
No.
Because of relationships that they have. Putin is not really worried about sanctions because China provides Russia with most of its income.
Yeah, they don't have to worry. They're not worried about it.
Sanctions are not going to work.
But sanctions mixed in with cutting off of oil, right? And he also doesn't have to worry if he is importing his own gas and his own stuff and his own money, right? But if you are relying on your allies, and your allies are coming after you, right, and turning into your enemy, you would have no choice but to do this and make sure that that pipeline comes in.
But doesn't President Biden know this? I mean,
he's blackmailed to the tilt. He's been in office for 7,000 years. He's made deals. He doesn't care about the American people. He doesn't care about any people. He cares about Big Joe getting a piece.
How could he not know that the sanctions that he's putting on them has already been covered by China?
Because
he knows, right? He just is like he's. We know that he's not in good health. Okay, I have a pretty good mind, and I'm younger than President Biden. I have a hard time keeping up with this. He seems like he's dwindling, and his mind is dwindling, and he has to be told what to say. And he's not a president that is on the up and up as far as knowing really what's going on. He's always been told what to do. He's kind of been taken under the fold, and just as long as he does what he is supposed to do, then he'll get paid, and he's allowed to kind of plunder around the world and power around or whatever is going on.
When they asked President Biden a question today, they said they were asking him about China. Somebody asked him about China, and he said, "I'm not prepared to answer that question."
Yeah, I saw that.
The reason why is because there are negotiations taking place to somewhat try to cut off the funding from Russia in this manner. Now,
hold on, let me just pull up a picture so you guys are familiar with what we're looking at. So let me see this. The Economist, Russia's menacing. I want to show you a picture of all this. A picture of Ukraine, Russia, Hungary, France, Belarus, everything. Give me a picture of all that. Yes, sir. Good. Yes, let me get that one. One second, please. No, I want this one that shows the pipeline. This is The Economist. Here, let's put The Economist in there. The Economist. Just one second, please. Russia is there. That's it. Yes. Drag it into the editor. There you go. It's something to look at, and you could just study it with me. Super chats are welcomed. Oh, that's not good. What did happen? Okay, never mind. Let me just do it the old-fashioned way then. What I'll do is I'll do it the old-fashioned way. Okay? Screenshot. Go like that. Capture it. Load it into the editor. Now, put it up there for good. Yes. Now we can kind of see what we're dealing with, right? Okay, let me put it like this. Let's hit the thumbs up button. Yeah, sure. We're going back to this, and
two things they have to balance out. They don't want to hurt the people in Russia. They don't want to do that.
No.
They want to punish Putin directly and all those who backed him up, and that's a very that's very delicate, right? It's very delicate, and you have very rich folks at the top of the food chain who will do anything Putin says, and those are the ones that they're filtering out, trying to go after with their assets, so on and so on. But unfortunately, it's not going to work because the alliance with Iran, right, which is Russia's laboratory.
Yeah.
Iran is Russia's laboratory, and some other nations are gonna keep the. They can't even put in full sanctions because if they did and they didn't, Europe needs Russian oil.
Yeah,
they need it.
They need it.
They cannot afford to do anything. In fact, they tried to put that in place last night, and it quickly was shut down. They said, "No, we can't do that. We can't. We'll cut our own throats doing that."
I mean, let me ask you a question. How in the world did Germany make such a blunder? This can't be a blunder. It had to be calculated. Because why in the world would Germany strike a deal to where 32% of their entire oil has to come from Russia, and then Germany supplies a lot of the rest of the European nations? I mean, how do you let yourself get in that position to a nation that you've been at odds with less than 70 years ago or 75 years ago? I mean, was that a deliberate move by Germany?
As part of Putin's poker face. Putin for a long time was in cooperation with a lot of nations. We were, he was flying America to space every 2 weeks, right? Their scientists and our scientists were actually investigating Iran together, right?
Yeah.
So with Putin...
Okay. Putin is 100%, this is from Lisa Burns, Putin is 100% prepared and ready. Brandon is not. The world is not. Most Americans are not. Get prepared now. Your time is extremely limited. Don't be like Ukraine and wait until the missile strikes.
It seemed like, wow, this relationship is growing. When it comes to economy and everything else, things had been changing. Even with the sanctions that were imposed with Crimea that are still in place, they were still, making amends for quite a few things until recently when they found out Putin was going to go ahead and reestablish the USSR. Right before, because two empires are about to be restored, and Russia's one of them. But there's a Middle Eastern empire that's also about to be fully restored. And when that, I believe that is the final empire, by the way. I don't believe there's going to be people left for any other restoration of anything else. What is about to happen is going to be life-changing for the entire world by way of restoration of things in the Middle East.
Right.
A power shift is happening. And if you notice, China's very quiet, right?
They're very quiet right now. They're watching this.
Quietly sneaking into Taiwan and doing all kinds of things under the radar. Quiet.
Save for two threats that they gave. They reminded everybody that the Taiwan is not the Ukraine.
Yes, they did.
Number one,
that's
and
number
that
one.
they are not Russia, right? So when they do what they have to do, it's going to be fast and furious. It'll be
right,
but it's not going to be a Ukraine situation. It can be worse.
Is the world China's obviously watching the Russian situation play out and how that nobody from NATO, nobody's coming to Ukraine's rescue. China's got to be saying, okay, Taiwan's going to be easy. This is going to be really easy. There's no one, everybody's afraid. There's nobody stepping up. Do you feel?
Joe Biggers is saying because of military generals that backed and supported Russia, that's why they got rid of the asshole and he's no longer a general.
Feel that's China's pretty well figured that out.
Well, they know what they have, right? And everybody's going to sit back and see how this, in the next 2 weeks, is going to be the most important 2 weeks this world has ever had, because it will decide if further aggression will simply go off the scales or not. Mark my words, in 2 weeks, an evaluation will be done. After this evaluation, the entirety of the Middle East. And this is why Israel right now is on my heart, because they have their hands effectively tied. Their hands are.
The U.S. government is not including free crack pipes in the free smoking kits. It's free methamphetamine pipes only.
What can they do? What can they do if anybody aggresses them? What can they do? Because they depend upon Russia, right, to see their blind spots.
Oh, and by the way, meth coming in these days, it has a whole bunch of fentanyl in it. So you will be getting hooked to fentanyl and methamphetamines.
They do.
Can't count on Russia now.
What can they do against Russia? Or
yeah, they found it that less people die when they cut it with the whatever. So you'll find that people, it still works, right? It still works, but it not really. So you just need a bunch more, and then you get addicted to it in two ways. You get addicted to the methamphetamine, and you get addicted to the opiate one. What's the name of it? I just said it. Oh, you want to get some fucking da-da-da from China? It's basically the really hard shit that's like stronger than Oxycontin. Anyway, I just wanted to make that brief announcement because the cartels are adding that in south of the border and elsewhere. And so you will now have an addiction to not only methamphetamine, but fentanyl.
What deal can they have with Russia at this point regarding defense that's not broken down by this NATO-Russia breakdown?
It's over.
You see what I'm saying? When the Western world has broken down its relations with Russia, Israel is always in talks, because it's only because of Russia that Iran has not bolstered many of its bottom feeders to go right into Israel, right? Because they are keeping them in check. If that goes away.
Well, that's very true. If you gave your child a place to live and they decided to party with Hunter in it, you would kick them out and take back your place. But the Bidens are absolutely a huge cause of all this. And it seems as if, though, a political family like that, he gives, especially that, there was weird sexual stuff and all this kind of stuff. There's a bunch of covering up, and once you're in the thing, the cover up goes deep. For all others, you cover up, right? You cover up at all costs. And he was getting kickbacks. He needed his son in there that he could trust, because they were doing some hardcore shenanigans. They were doing some hardcore shenanigans to get a big piece of the money with China, right? So China is giving it to Russia, but China is also in there in Ukraine. So, of course, China is helping out until this gets started, because they know that Putin's going to have to do this and get on the world stage, and it's going to give China a backseat role as far as we're not doing anything. Now we see the levers of power being played out and how it's all, working.
Russia's going to have to fuel, or Israel will have to fuel everything they have right now and get ready, right? Now, they're already ready for an all-out war.
They're ready for Iran.
For an all-out war.
And I'm going to ask you, as these next 2 weeks, things are going to be, as you say, Russia's going to continue to go straight for Kiev. They got to get Zelensky. They're going to try to kill him, right? Let's be honest. They're going to try to kill him and take over the government in the capital, and then filter that out with the ground troops. Do you feel that the Ukrainian people's spirit will be broken if Zelensky is killed? And will they give up?
No, the people that are over there right now, with bombs going off and everything else, they're scared. But guess they continue to say the same thing: we're not leaving. This is our country, right? You have grandmothers picking up AK-47s.
Yeah.
You have, everybody's ready to fight. Of course, they're going to have that bit of fear, but and then their leadership in the Ukraine, it will be removed. There's no question about it.
Yeah, it will be.
Who can stop Russia from doing that?
Nobody.
I mean, this is a situation one guy put it, like an elephant with a fly. And a lot of Russian folks don't agree with it. But again, this is, in the next 2 weeks, this will be gauged. And right after this, after the world sees the responses, what happens as far as what sanctions are actually put in place, although they won't take effect, some of them for months. They're going to gauge this, and action within the next 2 weeks. Right after that 2-week mark, countries are going to take action, right? This won't be the only situation that we're looking at. That's a military operation. We're going to have many more. The whole idea, and this is why NATO right now has to show that they are, number one, unified. They can have no breakdowns. They already know this. They're being scrutinized.
Yeah.
There could be a sea campaign here shortly. That's because, of course, the oil is going to be messed with, right?
Yeah.
But Israel is still the component of the Middle East, that area that everybody will contest, that Iran is going to take full advantage of this situation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They did a few things this morning. They're testing the waters in a big way.
What they do?
And,
what they do?
Pastor,
right?
they.
Before we get into what they did, we got to comment a little bit more. This is coming from the Coming Apocalypse, Paul Begley. And we are 1 hour, 38 minutes, and 36 seconds into the broadcast. All right. The name of this is Breaking Putin on the Blitz, Mike from Around the World / Paul Begley. All right. And we are basically getting a whole bunch of... Dad, let's kill the noise on that. We're just basically getting a feeling of what's going on as far as Ukraine. Now, Ukraine, like I said, Joe Biden went in there, sent his son, Hunter Biden, into Ukraine, and he all kinds of shenanigans were happening. He put him on the board of Burisma, a gas company, and you see them cutting off Russia economically from the internet, banking, all this stuff. The Chinese, right, are helping them out because they know that Russia is going to have to protect their investment, and also it's going to kill thousands, hundreds of thousands of their people without oil economy. They're gonna lose a lot of their stuff because you have to have energy. So Russia needs to do this to protect its pipeline. Now, Germany cutting off the pipeline before any of this, very, very stupid, like Mike from Around the World was saying. 35% in the deal, 35% or 30 or 35% of the gas has to come from Russia, and they cut it off, basically stabbing themselves like in the foot.
They did a few things this morning with about 3 UAVs.
Okay.
That is unheard of. And the bad part about it is what these UAVs were armed with. You can't shoot down these vehicles when they're armed that way. Now, that's no doubt they're testing the waters to see what's happening. And that's what really Turkey knew about these UAVs. They don't agree with what was happening. They did not agree with what was happening. They can hear the...
Lindy, that they don't like that. Legalizing drugs, I believe the people that bring the drugs in here, the cartels, would not want to legalize drugs because that would hurt their profits. But I don't know. We've seen it to where kids under 19 years of age have a much easier time obtaining street drugs than, say, alcohol.
Chatter between Russia and Iran. And believe me, we're not talking about slingshots. We're talking about some pretty devastating weapons.
Right.
And these, Iran has access to everything Russia has.
Yeah.
And Iran has access to everything China has.
So you're talking about an unholy alliance here. Russia, Iran, and China. Unholy.
Oh, big time. They've been supporting each other for the last, what? The last
30
15
years?
Yeah, and then as technology has grown, specifically in the last 15, all of them went nuclear. All of them went nuclear. All of them did. So you're looking at major powers, right? That could actually, you have to think about something. Who's gone into Iran, right? Since nobody likes Iran, and Iran is this big troublemaker, why not just go over there with a military,
No.
get the folks out of power, and set up some type of a regime that is controllable? They cannot do that.
No.
They can't do it. They
No.
can't. No army on earth can do. It's almost like they are supernaturally preserved for a very specific time. And with Russia, with their high presence north of Israel, right?
Yep.
You're looking at the gates are really about to open. There are more and more people, even with the Ukraine, lots of people have been emboldened. I mean, it's unbelievable. The radio chatter is unbelievable. When Russia went into the Ukraine, there were millions of people clapping their hands in the Middle East. You're talking about radio chatter from different groups that are out there being sponsored by major countries. They were clapping their hands, and they will take full advantage of this situation. They're being emboldened, and they're going to do the same thing sooner or later.
So, Mike,
and Iran is calculating this thing.
So, Mike, it sounds, obviously, when we read Ezekiel 38, these are the nations that we're talking about here. Right?
Ezekiel 38. Let's read that. Ezekiel 38. Russia prophecy happening. Is God bringing about fulfillment of prophecies written in Ezekiel 38 and 39? Hold on. This brought me to somebody writing on it. Ezekiel 38, 39. The account of the war of Ezekiel 38-39, or the war of Gog and Magog in chapters 38 and 39, details how Gog of Magog, meaning Gog from the land of Magog or Gog from the land of Gog, the syllable ma being treated as an equivalent to land, and his hordes from the north will threaten and attack the restored land of da da da. All right, let's go to the Bible Gateway. All right, I'm going to read the whole thing. Ezekiel 38. The Lord's victory, the Lord's great victory over the nations. The word of the Lord came to me. Son of man, set your face against Gog, of the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. Prophesy against him and say, this is what the sovereign Lord says. I am against you, Gog, chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. I will turn you around, put hooks in your jaws, and bring you out with your whole army, your horses, your horsemen fully armed, and a great horde with large and small shields, all of them brandishing their swords. Persia, Cush, and Put. Persia, Cush, and Put will be with them, all with shields and helmets. Also Gomer, with all of its troops, and Beth Targurmah, from the far north, with all of its troops, the many nations with you. Get ready, be prepared, you and all the hordes gathered about you, and take command of them. After many days you will be called to arms. In future years you will invade a land that has recovered from war, whose people were gathered from many nations to the mountains of Israel, which had long been desolate. They had been brought out from the nations, and now all of them live in safety. You and all your troops, and the many nations with you, will go up, advancing like a storm. and you will be like a cloud covering the land. This is what the sovereign Lord says. On that day, thoughts will come into your mind, and you will devise an evil scheme. You will say, I will invade a land of unwalled villages. I will attack a peaceful and unsuspecting people, all of them living without walls and without gates and without bars. I will plunder and loot and turn my hand against the resettled ruins and the people gathered from the nations, rich in livestock and goods, living at the center of the land. Sheba and Dedan, and the merchants of Tarish, and all of her villages will say to you, have you come to plunder? Have you gathered your hoards to loot, to carry off silver and gold, to take away livestock and goods, and to seize much plunder? Therefore, son of man, prophesy and say to Gog, this is what the sovereign Lord says. In that day, when my people Israel are living in safety, you will not take notice of it. You will come from your place in the far north, you and many nations with you, all of them riding on horses, a great horde, a mighty army. You will advance against my people Israel like a cloud that covers the land. In days to come, Gog, I will bring you against my land, so that the nations may know me when I am proved holy through you before their eyes. This is what the sovereign Lord says. You are the one I spoke of in former days by my servants, the prophets of Israel. At that time they prophesied for years that I would bring you against them. This is what will happen in that day. When Gog attacks the land of Israel, my hot anger will be aroused, declares the sovereign Lord. In my zeal and fiery wrath, I declare, at that time there shall be a great earthquake in the land of Israel. The fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, the beasts of the field, every creature that moves along the ground, and all the people on the face of the earth will tremble at my presence. The mountains will be overturned, the cliffs will crumble, and every wall will fall to the ground. I will summon a sword against Gog on all my mountains, declares the sovereign Lord. Every man's sword will be against his brother. I will execute judgment on him with plague and bloodshed. I will pour down torrents of rain, hailstones, burning sulfur on him and his troops, and on many nations with him. And so I will show my greatness and my holiness, and I will make myself known in the sight of many nations. They will know that I am the Lord. Son of man, prophesy against Gog and say, this is what the sovereign Lord says. I am against you, Gog, chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. I will turn you around and drag you along. I will bring you from the far north and send you against the mountains of Israel. Then I will strike your bow from left hand. I will then strike your bow from your left hand. I will then strike your bow from your left hand and make your arrows drop from your right hand. On the mountains of Israel you will fall, you and all your troops, and the nations with you. I will give you as food to all kinds of carrion birds and to the wild animals. You will fall in the open field. Remember they said, plant these seeds, you will be dead in the field, the sunflowers. You will fall in the open field, for I have spoken, declares the sovereign Lord. I will send fire on Magog and on all those who live in safety in the coastlands, and they will know that I am the Lord. I will make known my holy name among my people Israel. I will no longer let my holy name be profaned, and the nations will know that I, the Lord, am the Holy One in Israel. It is coming. It will surely take place, declares the sovereign Lord. This is the day that I have spoken of. Then those who live in towns of Israel will go out and use the weapons for fuel and burn them up, the small and large shields, the bows and arrows, the war clubs and spears. For 7 years they will use them for fuel. They will not need to gather wood from the fields or cut from it the forests, because they will use the weapons for fuel. And they will plunder those who plundered them, and loot those who looted them, declares the sovereign Lord. On that day I will give Gog a burial place in Israel, in the valley of those who travel east of the sea. It will block the way of travelers, because Gog and all of its hordes will be buried there. So it will be called the Valley of Haman Gog. The Valley of Haman Gog. For 7 months the Israelites will be burying them in order to cleanse the land. All the people of the land will bury them, and the day I display my glory will be a memorable day for them, declares the sovereign Lord. People will be continually employed in cleansing the land. They will spread out across the land, and along with others, they will bury any bodies that are lying on the ground. After the 7 months, they will carry out a more detailed search. As they go through the land, anyone who sees a human bone will leave a marker beside it until the gravediggers bury it in the valley of Haman Gog, near a town called Hamona. And so they will cleanse the land. Son of man, this is what the sovereign Lord says. Call out to every kind of bird and all the wild animals. Assemble and come together from all around to sacrifice. Assemble and come together from all around to the sacrifice I am preparing for you, the great sacrifice on the mountains of Israel. There you will eat flesh and drink blood. You will eat the flesh of the mighty men and drink the blood of the princes of the earth. Hold on, this sounds like cannibalism. Hold it. T.O. You will eat flesh and drink blood. Wait, I thought the Lord said don't drink blood. You will eat flesh of mighty men and drink the blood of the princes of the earth, as if they were rams and lambs and goats and bulls, all of them fattened animals from Bashan. At the sacrifice I am preparing for you, you will eat fat till you are glutted, and drink blood till you are drunk. At my table you will eat your fill of horses and riders, mighty men and soldiers of every kind, declares the sovereign Lord. I will display my glory among the nations, and all the nations will see the punishment I inflict and the hand I lay on them. From that day forward, the people of Israel will know that I am the Lord their God, and the nations will know that the people of Israel went into exile for their sin, because they were unfaithful to me. So I hid my face from them and handed them over to their enemies, and they all fell by the sword. I dealt with them according to their uncleanness and their offenses, and I hid my face from them. Therefore, this is what the sovereign Lord says. I will now restore the fortunes of Jacob, and will have compassion on all the people of Israel, and I will be zealous for my holy name. They will forget their shame and all the unfaithfulness they showed towards me when they lived in safety in their land with no one to make them afraid. When I have brought them back from the nations and have gathered them from the countries of their enemies, I will be proved holy through them in the sight of many nations. Then They will know that I am the Lord their God. For though I sent them into exile among the nations, I will gather them to their own land, not leaving any behind. I will no longer hide my face from them. For I will pour out my spirit on the people of Israel, declares the sovereign Lord. Okay?
You know, Iran, Russia, and some of the others. And Israel's the prize. And it's amazing. We're talking about, we got an invasion going on in Ukraine, and yet you and I are just talking about, we keep talking about Israel because this Ukraine is almost like a distraction compared to the bigger prizes, is what I'm hearing you say. Do you feel that one of NATO's countries of the West is going to take a proactive strike here, and I don't mean attack Russia, but maybe cut a pipeline in half or cyber attack something with Russia, or shoot something, a satellite that's necessary for Russia out of space? I mean, do you think somebody's going to take a shot at Russia anywhere in here, or no?
Well, that's a very good question. At the beginning of any conflict, you're going to have unified sides. It only takes 1 week, and people begin to disagree, angrily disagree, right? Yeah. This has happened through every single conflict that's been on the face of the earth. In the first week, it seems like everybody's unified, right? Because of shock and awe, because of the effects of shock and awe. Yeah. But then after a week, as soon as the proposals are really looked at, people begin to disagree with one another. If they continue, well, in today's world, the disagreements can be so bitter that another nation would absolutely act on their own regard if they can get away with it. So, and then, but you have this unknown element, and this is an eye opener. This would be fine, right, if there were no tensions among citizens, right? Because if citizens have tension, then the army has morality problems. They're being excited or unified behind a commander, right? If that were flawless, this would be great, but that's not. Here's the issue here. We have divided people in the USA, divided people in NATO over politics, divided people in the armed services over politics. Now, the armed services, they preserve democracy. They don't practice it, they preserve it. But in this case, because of the military's changes and some of the leniency, right, as far as, because a lot of soldiers are not, they don't act like soldiers. You have to forgive me for saying that, but everything is too soft. And because of politics, you have commands that have divided. You have commanders that they won't take the orders of those appointed over them. And so you have a breakdown in the chain of command over politics. You have loyalty issues. We're not just talking about the USA, we're talking about all of NATO. And if somebody or some trusted commander or some liked commander decided to take power into his own hands, I'm telling you, right, we're in a world right now where that can happen. That means if somebody on a battleship, whether it be the USA, whether it be the UK, whoever it is, decided that they were going to move on their own, in this day and age, it would happen. How do we know this? Because 2 months ago it happened. A month ago it happened.
What?
And a week ago there were letters of reprimand from it almost happening. So now we have a wartime situation that's quite sensitive. Somebody could easily take power into their own hands. Now, it's not just with NATO. You're also looking at the Russian soldiers who are tired, right? They're tired. They too could take power into their own hands. How about these folks? For example, I can't name the country who did this, but you had 2 generals who refused to launch nuclear weapons. They refused. But then you had 2 generals from another nation who tried to launch real nuclear weapons. They tried to launch them. This was 2.5 weeks ago. They tried to launch real nuclear weapons. right? So we have a problem. So what happens when Putin doesn't order this, or NATO doesn't order something, but something comes out of the blue? And this is what, when you have the wartime jitters, is what it's called, right? You have people with wartime jitters. They can get desperate enough to do something.
If
like
they
that,
don't,
right?
let's say they don't believe in the cause, or they believe in a cause and they feel like this needs to be done. You could have a rogue general or somebody who just says, you know what, I'm going to do this because it's the right thing to do, and these guys up in the top, they're too weak, they're too soft. I'm going to make it happen. I mean, that
That's
could
right.
happen. Let me ask you this question: look, could Putin be assassinated within his own circle?
That's a concern. That's always a concern with Putin. Always. That's always a concern. You know, this guy lives with that concern. He lives.
Yeah,
he lives
he's
with
stoned,
that concern.
man. He's stoned
And believe
cold.
me, it's attempted more often than not.
Yeah.
It really is. Though you still see him with his poker face. That's why he has a good poker face.
Yeah, he
because
does.
the average person could not live under that amount of stress.
No.
They just couldn't do it. And he's not quite sure who his enemies are, who his friends are. He's not sure. And he's at that point now. It looks like it's actually something has gotten to him.
Yeah.
Right. Or that look of ambition he had the other day was just flat out spooky.
It's
Spooky Putin.
it-
It was spooky
it's-
because he looked like he was talking about the Ukraine, but it was almost like he was communicating to everybody that Ukraine is an example of what's coming. And nobody better get in the way. Of course, it's almost like he knows they're going to try, and he's going to flatten them. So something else is coming down the pike. I don't believe for a minute that the Ukraine is the end of this fiasco here. I don't believe that.
Now that's what I'm going to ask you. Can you give us an ideal? Okay, so the Ukraine, it's on, and obviously he's trying to take that country completely. How long do you think that takes? Do you think that, how long is this going to go on?
That doesn't take long. It doesn't take long.
Now, but
right?
will he occupy it, or will he put in a puppet government?
If he changes the government, you have to remember the people. If you take if you take a look at what the people talk about, the people are not like they're not like everybody else. They like their country. Now, when it comes to their leadership, right? They'll deal with the leadership as it gets there, whether they're pro-Russian or not. Right, they'll deal with the leadership, but they're going to want to get their lives back first,
right,
before they hop into any type of political anything. Putin understands what he's doing because with this war causes displacement. Displacement causes trauma. When you've been living in a place for a long time under the banner of potential war for 8 years, that's very tiresome, right? So just to get their homes back, knowing that there won't be a war, they can actually smile, no matter what type of leadership they have. And then later on, they'll likely deal with that. But you have to remember, if Putin puts leadership in there, he's going to guard that leadership, and no one's going to mess with the leadership because of fear of the army. If he wins this, which he will, and this is this.
You're ready to
got cut off.
start your own business, to turn that passion into a paycheck. All you need is a partner you can trust. Over the last
What happened? You got cut off? Yeah, boom, they cut him off. They cut the whole damn feed. Okay. Alright, I wasn't expecting that. Hold on. Okay. No, it's not coast to coast. It's a mic from around the world. And we are just getting perspectives on everything that's going on. What's going on, Planet X Watcher, Gwendolyn, Access, Sherelle, Lisa, Teresa, or Tessa. Adrenochrome is in the house. And then we have... what happened to Renee? Renee Swamps got freaking sniped. Who sniped her? Planet X Watcher sniped her. Joe Biggers is in the house. Lindy's in the house. I mentioned X-Watcher, yeah. I know CBB is lurking. I know Henry Hayes is lurking. Ragamuffin's here. Just wanted to say hello to everybody. Yeah, it was Paul Begley and Mike from Around the World from last night. There is the is that the link? What is this? Council of Time? That's Mike's site, right? Chat rooms, discussions, archives, message of the day. The Allied forces are now at a new level of readiness with preparations to respond to the aggression Russia may display in the upcoming days, possibly hours. Pray for those brave souls that are being deployed in defense of freedom, understanding that they could very well be facing and experiencing foes in regards to combat. The final action for U.S. deployment begins. We must all be very stable in regard to the news you will both read and hear. The world can sometimes present issues and cause concerns that can be overwhelming. With increasingly concerns of conflict, rising awareness of supply chain problems, and continued confusion over the direction of health-related procedures, anxieties and various insecurities become even much greater. Anxieties and various insecurities become much greater. These conditions, which generally affect our lives, were already foretold in great detail. So many years ago, humanity was given some writings regarding the very things we go through today, even the variety of issues we experience in our personal lives. The writings in question, although they describe the unfortunate events of our time, also convey an encouraging message of hope and liberation that can hardly be described. However, it can be experienced by anyone who chooses to accept it. Those writings are contained within the Holy Bible. The night approaches with haste, ladies and gentlemen, but the power to choose real liberty is still yours. May you find Jesus Christ while it's day. May you know his peace before the heavier darkness falls upon the earth. I threw in some words there, just kind of editing on the fly. Thank you, Mike from around the world. The council of what is this? Council of, I have it really small, so counciloftime.com. Okay? So I'm making sure to get his website out of there. El Fuego's lurking. Binky's lurking. There's the lurkers. Just draw out the lurkers. Who else is a lurker and knows it? The Lamb of God. P, not B, not P. Ugh, live in lamb. I'm not sure what that means. Sounds like Coast to Coast. It's more dynamic than Coast to Coast. It's James Munder. It's Munder Ground News. Okay? I used to listen to you when you had better videos. Hey, I want to stay on YouTube. Just everyone calm down. Okay? If you don't like the live stream, you can go watch CNN. We try to get the overall picture of what's going on and what everything was cued into us before. So we're just trying to see the bigger picture. Right now, I got a big map of Ukraine. All right. And as you can see, Nancy Pelosi yesterday. Nancy, Hungary does not border Russia, but she said Hungary was the next move. I believe Hungary will be the next move. We'll see what's going to happen here. Bring it down to brassy size. And then look at this over here. The clouds over Israel or whatever. No, this is the clouds over Ukraine. But something is dropping this, like a black cloud is dropping all kinds of missiles and phosphorus and God knows what. Some sort of platform of some sort. That way you can read it. Yeah, yeah. Well, I knew you were a lurker. Knew you were a lurker. Yeah, while you're lurking, why don't you lurk a thumbs up? I mean, it doesn't hurt you. Why don't you just press that button right there? Yeah, the thumbs up one right below the video. Why don't you go ahead and press that thumbs up? I kind of go off what you guys say. Like it gets into my my mental. Access to Christ, I heard you on the broadcast, not last night, but the night before. Good call. Good call, my dear. Access on Bagley 2 nights. My PayPal is in the description box, and it really kind of it gets me pumped when people super chat me, because I'm like, oh, and I start getting worried that it's not working, you know? After days and days of it not working, I'm like, not even $1. Like, is anything going through? I start getting worried. So just know that. And then it brings me to a point where like I'll feel like, you know, good, and I'll be like, wow, it's working. Like everything's gonna happen. Everything's going good now. And it'll make me want to focus in more on doing videos. Like the other day, I got a super chat, and then I sat down and made like 4 videos on top of the live stream. Like it really helps. It does. As far as my psychology, not just money, but just like psychology. You're welcome. How am I? It's Friday. I took the trash out. There's some stuff. I don't know. Everything's a little bit sketch. Everything's just a touch sketchy. I wish it could just be like nice and nice, but everything is just a touch sketchy everywhere. Oh, I made it so small it looks like the chat. Okay, I'm gonna kind of make it bigger. Yeah, they cut him off. We're gonna go right here and let's scan the headlines of the Z Hedge, please. Kremlin says Ukraine rejected offer of Belarus talks. So the Kremlin says Ukraine rejected the negotiations. Nothing compares to the chaos we're going to see now. Tanker rates on Russian crude routes soar 6-fold in one day amid war fears. Twitter says it will consider censoring emerging narratives about Ukraine war. Russia to partially restrict access to Facebook for violating fundamental human rights and freedoms. European natural gas prices are plunging as Russian flows via Ukraine soar. Blaine, the world has changed and changing unilaterally. Utterly. China state banks restrict purchase of Russian commodities. Pause buying Russian seaborne crude. See? China. Oh, they have nothing to worry about. See, China is doing... Huh? What's this, Mike, from around the world? China state banks restrict purchases of Russian commodities. Pause buying Russian seaborne crude oil. That's the Chinese. What was Mike from around the world saying? Oh, because of the Chinese. Uh-huh. Let's read this. You're going to want to know some of this. This just broke. Here, let me see if I can get the picture inside of your mummy. Hold on. Put the picture inside the mummy. Put the picture inside of it. No, they're bad people. They're bad. They're totally bad. What we do here, this is how it's done. What I do here is I screenshot it through Okinawa. I thought it was Abu Dhabi. I know, but for now it's Okinawa because of the war, and we had problems getting into Abu Dhabi. This is Okinawa. Rerouting through Okinawa, and then we're going to bring in here. Fang isn't working because she's not allowed into Okinawa. So the Karate Kid is actually here with us. He was on vacation in Okinawa doing the drums. We're here in Okinawa with the Karate Kid. Karate Kid, a little slower to the punch. I mean, can you load it up for the love of Pete Santilli? Thank you, Danielson. Thank you, Danielson. There we go. China state banks restrict purchase of Russian commodities. Oh, they have nothing to worry about because China is funding them. They got nothing to worry about. Do we have any Twitter videos or anything? All right, so you want that? You want it? While Beijing has so far clearly telegraphed it is aligned, at least ideologically, with Moscow and the nascent Ukraine war, refusing to call Putin's move an invasion, also blaming the United States for stoking the conflict, while refusing to condemn the military action, Bloomberg reports that at least 2 of China's largest state-owned banks are restricting financing for purchasing of Russian commodities, underscoring the limits of Beijing's pledge to maintain economic ties. Russia in the face of sanctions by the United States and its allies. According to the report, Industrial and Commercial Bank of China's offshore units stopped issuing U.S. dollar-denominated letters or credit for purchases of physical Russian commodities ready for export, even though yuan-denominated letters of credit are still available for some clients, subject to approvals from senior executives. Bank of China has also curbed financing for Russian commodities based on its own risk assessment. Bloomberg also noted, adding that the bank has yet to receive explicit guidance on Russia from the Chinese regulators. Because commodity-linked letters of credit are issued so frequently, they would be among the first transactions impacted by the threat of sanctions. While it is unclear whether Chinese banks have pulled back from other forms of financing for Russian companies and individuals, the news comes after an overnight report noted that the Chinese oil importers, the world's biggest buyers of Russian crude oil, had briefly paused new seaborne purchases as they assess the potential implications of handling the shipments following the Ukraine invasion. According to Chinese refineries and traders who sell into the region, regular buyers of Russian crude that load from the Far East ports said they will stay on the sidelines until more clarity on cargo financing and payments is available. Separately, freight costs for cargoes unloading from the Black Sea have tripled as shippers shunned the region due to security risks. More on this in a subsequent post. While Russian energy exports were sparred from U.S. sanctions, some European banks such as ING, Groep N.V., and Rabobank have begun to impose restrictions, commodity trade-linked financing linking to the two countries. Other lenders are also scaling back their exposure by limiting the issuance of letters of credit against the cargoes that originated in Russia. And now it appears that Chinese banks themselves are pausing their own LC issuance until the smoke clears. As Bloomberg notes, the curbs highlight the balancing act facing China's biggest financial institutions and Xi Jinping, as it strives to remain neutral in the ongoing Russia versus West feud. While Russia is a major energy supplier to China, and the countries often find themselves aligned in geopolitical disputes with the U.S., Russia's economic weight pales in comparison to Western nations that buy many of China's exports and control its access to the dollar-dominated international financial system. On the other hand, as Robobank pointed out earlier, this may be changing. China's 4 largest banks have complied with previous U.S. sanctions against Iran, North Korea, and even top officials in Hong Kong because they need access to the U.S. dollar clearing system. A Bloomberg source said, even though China has regularly breached the Iran oil embargo, its purchases of millions of barrels of Iranian oil in violation of U.S. sanctions are not exactly a secret. Perhaps to demonstrate to the West its eagerness to mediate, in a phone call with Vladimir Putin on Friday, Xi urged the Russian leader to negotiate with Ukraine to defuse tensions. Chinese financial institutions take sanctions compliance very seriously, said Ben Crost-Ziwa, foreign legal consultant at Hogan Lovells in Hong Kong, who formerly handled U.S.-China disputes and negotiations at the Office of the U.S. Trade Representatives. They don't want to be sanctioned themselves, and they can't lose access to U.S. dollar transactions, so they are going to have to think about it very seriously, whatever the geopolitical impact may be. With international lenders, including ING, Grope, NV, and Robobank, also expressing restrictions on commodity trade finance linked to Russia, demand for the nation's resource experts could dwindle. Chinese state-owned coal importers are unable to get credit lines from banks in Singapore for shipments from Russia, people familiar with the matter said. As Bloomberg notes, U.S. sanctions put China's state-owned financial institutions in a tough spot because many have established close ties with Russia over the past decade. ICBM's Moscow branch alone had close to $1 billion of assets by the end of 2020 and offered an extensive range of yuan-denominated services, including deposits, lending, cross-border settlement, trade finance, Bank of China, Agricultural Bank of China, China Construction Bank Corporation, all have operations in Russia. Separately, China's largest policy banks, China Development Bank and Export-Import Bank of China, have provided tens of billions of dollars of credit to Russia as part of Xi's Belt and Road Initiative, funding everything from infrastructure to oil and gas. That's the brass that's going on with that. They're coming in hot. Okay, we're going over here.
World Order. It's Alex Jones.
Bad man. He's a bad man. Cut that off. That's going to give me a freaking copyright strike. Yay! All right. I could chill out for a second. We're going to listen to Ali Jones give his, for 5 minutes. 5 minutes to see what this asshole is talking about. This asshole. Alex Jones, you are an asshole.
I'm going to cover the developments.
He still has that freaking music Led Zeppelin playing below.
Segment of the shower. I really dropped the ball yesterday and did not cover the COVID news.
You don't have to.
And this isn't just about this news. It's just unbelievable. And we already knew this and had almost all the pieces of it, but now we have the last ones. That Moderna created COVID-19. And then they just reverse engineered it in the lab to have a cover story. And they released it. Of course, Moderna was created by Bill Gates and others.
Moderna created the Karachi 19. Breaking news. Moderna creates Karachi 19. There you go. I said it. You know it. There you go. Run with it, Lindy. Moderna has created the Karachi 19. Breaking news.
Just for this event. But they're using this war and they're using the inflation and all the other problems to tell us, oh, the COVID restrictions are over. And then we just forget about how we've just been soft killed for all the numbers, and governments from Europe to the UK to the US to Canada all announced last week, oh, we're going to make secret all the COVID numbers now because people are misusing it. Yeah, it shows the massive death. Just like Moderna.
Yikes.
Moderna and Pfizer and others went to courts and said, don't ever release any of our secret studies on this.
You're a bad man, Alex Jones. You're bad.
And now they were forced to release some, and it's mass death.
This guy's bad. Bad man. Bad.
But they know the public has a short attention span. And so they want everyone to just now move on to Russia and what's happening there.
Russia. You pay attention to Russia, you sheep.
That's coming up last.
What else you got?
Segment.
What else you got, Jonesy? We're sniffing your pockets right now.
This hour. I mean, it's a huge stack, but COVID spike protein.
All right, get on the ground, Jonesy. We'll go through your pockets one by one here. We'll go through your pockets one by one, Jonesy. Let's go to the how do you go to it? Get me into Jones's pockets. Yeah, breaking news, his pockets. Well, I'll just see what he's talking about and then pretend like I'm Alex Jones and just get it done in like 5 seconds. Papa John, the OG of wokenism victims. Exclusive interview, reporter on the ground in Ukraine says this could boil over into World War III. Red alert, planet Earth on the verge of a massive nuclear war. We are in trouble, Paul Watson. Moscow banks UK aircraft from Russian airspace. Moscow bans UK aircraft from Russian airspace in retaliation for airflot sanctions. Moscow didn't let the UK in. They didn't like their accents. Hello, mate. They're like, turn around. Turn around. How the Russian. Would you please turn around? Watch university administrator disrupt TPUSA event until auditorium masks up. All right, that's good. We can do that. That's fine. That's fine. You'll get the audio. You guys ready for it? Get a cup of coffee. Just get a cup of coffee.
No, Dr. Zelty is actually going to advise people against wearing cloth masks.
So I'll explain one thing. I'm not here to debate whether it's, whether it is how much efficacy is behind wearing the mask, or how effective it is in reducing the spread of virus. I will share with you that the university policy, so I'm talking in terms of policy, is masks are required to be worn indoors. And so I just ask that you be respectful of the university policy. There are means that if you disagree with the policy, that you can voice your disagreement with the policy. But it is an administrative policy that we wear masks indoors, and we ask that you respect and abide by that. Thank you.
All right. So I think it's important for us to, once we know.
He goes right to this guy that's on stage with him. Hold on. Did I see that correctly? He goes right to this guy on stage. Goes right to this guy on stage that doesn't have a mask on. Let me get this small. There's some sort of weird shenanigans in front. Capture, and then go up here, and then show the picture in question. Image in the style that you're used to. You're used to Mundi. Go right here. Spelled within underpants. Ooh. This guy have a mask on? Nope, he doesn't have a mask on. You could see fine Gwendolyn. So he doesn't have a mask on, this guy. No mask. Okay.
Contain DNA sequences patented by Moderna 3 years before pandemic began, scientists discovered.
Great. Great. Here, you know what? Let me bookmark Mike from Around the World's page. Bookmark this tab. Mike. Bookmarks bar. Mike. Got it. Mike. This brand new YouTube, or brand new tube, is pretty dope, right? Oh, I need to... Okay, it's because of that. I got it. My live streaming should be over here. Me, I should be over here. Brand new tube should be edited. B, brand new tube, BNT. That's way we can get the Drudge Report. Drudge Report's in there. Go to the top of the Drudge Report. Top of Drudge is still showing the grandma that went up to the Russian soldier in Ukraine and said, here, put these seeds in your pocket so when you die on our land, at least something good comes from you. These are sunflower seeds. At least sunflowers, which is the flower of Ukraine, will grow from your pockets once you are on our ground dead. Then they show Putin as a Nazi. Nuke warnings. Russian tank crushes car with civilian inside. Shocking video. Oh wow, the Russians are fucking smashing up cars with people inside. That's not a good look. Hey Putin, that's not a good look, bud. See if we could take a screenshot of maybe something. Come on, it has to load up. Ad loading. Alright, you're going to advertise this?
And it hit quite a bit of newspapers last 2 days, but got almost no coverage. Fresh lab leak fears. A study finds genetic code in COVID spike protein linked.
Hey, enough with the spike protein and all that.
Stuff. Major German insurance company finds what U.S. insurance companies found at least a 40% increase in death in the vaccinated.
Yikes. Yikes. Can we get the Russian tank rolling over the Ukrainian car with civilians inside? Yeah, it's coming, guys. Here it is. I'm getting rid of the link. I mean the advertisement. Here it is. Let's pump this up all the way. Okay, wait. Here it comes, here it comes, here it comes. I'm going to grab a screenshot and share it with you. It's so so janky. I don't think they're gonna let me play this. This is just the most jankiest jank I've ever had to jank with. This Newsweek is terrible. Oh, what's this? Twitter video.
Это пиздец. Машина.
A car just got ran over.
Просто переехал машину с человека.
Ёб твою мать. Просто переехал человека.
Ебать, вот это животное.
Просто переехал.
Right there, right there, right there. Right there.
Животное.
Okay. It's far away. Take it down a notch. Pause that. I don't know what this one. This is like shows damages after Russia shelling hits Kiev. It's terrible. I mean, it's hard to show you this. So what I'll do is I will load up the tank rolling over the civilian car. They only showed it for a second. I grabbed a screenshot so you could look at it forever. I'm basically doing all the work so you don't have to. Okay? I'm basically providing a service of news and good feelings and the Bible and wrapping it all up into one so you don't have to go anywhere but here. Okay? Doing that for you. So don't tell me I don't do anything. Hold on, I'm ahead of myself. They haven't loaded it up in the processes yet. Huh? Is it loaded up? No? Cancel. Cancel culture. Screenshot. Maybe it was too small. Fair enough. Like that. Just 1 second, please, please. Capture. Again. Load that up into the editor. Capture. Okay. Boom, like this. Trying to show you the Russian tank running over the Ukrainian civilian's car. I'm going to show you a picture coming out of Ukraine. Trying my best here. Shitty eyes. Jesus. Go! No, it's not loading. Okay. Downloads. Okay. Recents. Date modified. Cancel culture. Cancel. Okay. For some reason it's not working. Whatever. I don't care. Maybe I'll show you when it's done. In Ukraine, a Russian tank had driven over a civilian car. Terrifying footage. My thoughts are with the people of Ukraine. So people are like a gasp. The man whose car was rammed and crushed by alleged Russian Strela has been rescued. Kiev Oblast. So this is their people trying to get their guy out of there. capture.
Unbelievable information.
Unbelievable information, baby.
Coming up today. And of course, the Indians, 25 months ago, major Indian university that has a gene scanner, $2 billion machine. They scanned the damn thing and they said, this is 100% man-made, P shuttle gene attached, HIV spike protein.
All right, we don't want to be kicked off YouTube, for God's sakes. I just wanted to show you the Russian tank rolling over the Ukrainians. What's up? It's not letting me? We'll try one more time. Sometimes I'm a little ahead of the curve because it doesn't load up right away. Recents. Now, as far as this, it's blocking me from every single screenshot I've done, so it's like whatever. I don't want to talk about it. All right, can't show you that. Whatever. I don't care. 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 The EU is set to freeze Putin. Russia says it has captured the airfield outside of Kiev. A video recording emerges purporting to show Russian warship killing Ukrainians on a remote island. Get a screenshot of that. Damn it, my screenshots won't work. Dude, you know, I'll bust open like this, boys. I'll straight take out my camera and show you on my phone. I'll straight go like this. I'll go OG. I'll go like this. I'll go like this. I'll go like this. I'll go like that. Take the picture. I'll go back here. I'll take the Russian tanks. Thank you very much. Give me these Russian tanks. Yep, take the Russian tank. Russian tanks. All right, this is the guy saying, "Oh my God." This is everyone helping. Everyone is helping get the guy out of the car that got ran over by the Russian tank over in Ukraine. Looks like an older fellow. He's sitting right in there. Looks like they get him. All right, I'll show you. There's more than one way up the mountain. Let's get the little Ukrainian, Russian map down to size, please. Okay, fine. Go up here, please. Please, thank you very much. Please, thanks. Okay, there's Ukraine. There's that. There they getting him out. Okay, it's a guy. He's in there. This is the tank rolling over the car. Tank rolling over the car in Ukraine. Apparently, the Russians are taking out people on an island. Let's go back to that story. Video has now emerged in recordings purporting to show Russian warship killing Ukrainians on a remote island. I'm getting to it. Just 1 second, please.
Москва. 200 метров. Ракетный катер. Россия.
Okay, the Russian warship is out there basically like this. And they are giving them some sort of warning. This Russian warship has loudspeakers on, talking to the people on the island.
Вот так вот мы тут и живем, блядь, на острове Змеином.
Even the translation is in Russian. Oh, do you copy? Hold on, back it up. I didn't see that. This is Russian warship, I repeat. I suggest you surrender your weapons and capitulate. Otherwise, I will open fire. Do you copy? Do you copy? This is it. ... Should I tell him to go fuck himself? Just in case. Turns up volume. Russian warship, go fuck yourself. The Russians start fucking firing immediately.
И башнули, короче, туда. Вон кораблик. То ли шугают, то ли хуй пойми, что делают. Пока что вроде нихуя не снесли.
They don't have any interpreters for this.
Хуй пойми, их быстрее всего шугают нас, по скалам ебашат.
We are fighting.
Hey, Jonesy, don't come out like that, okay? Don't start making a mega mix on me. I was with my best friends, girl. Oh, it just says I took a ride with my best friend. That's all we got on that, Larnoff. I gotta go run and do some hecadanza. I got some running around to do. I'm gonna come back and give the update on what's going on after these hours. I know we're only a little bit before 10, but I have shit to do. I will come back, and when I come back, I will go on live and we'll check out what the scene is over there. And it's Friday, so I'll try to come on and let you know as much as there is to know before you go into your weekend. So take a little time off, go do some stuff, drink some coffee. Maybe by the time that I get back, you'll have some stuff to share with me. It was good to see everybody on the early side of the broadcast at 7. Like Lindy, she's saying all Ukrainian soldiers were killed. Isn't that a Romanian island? I'm not sure. Volvo takes diesel. Snake Island because the soldiers told the Russians to go fuck off. 8-Ball, is James going to have Marcy on maybe? Marcy, she was in the background yesterday as we were cooking and doing